What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with the Cave every single Tuesday, each and every week at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I go live, I bring a fantastic guest on, and we shoot the shit about the NFL for about 60 minutes of your time. And I appreciate anybody that's going to stop in tonight. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments, or even just view and potentially subscribe. But I appreciate anybody that does step in, and I'm looking forward to shooting the shit with one of my great friends. Jake Jordan, man, I'm very excited to have you back on for the second appearance. It's going to be a really good one.
Yeah, the cave has had some improvements since the last time I've been in here, and I'm very happy to come in here and shoot the shit. Like my motto goes from the last time we were in here, we don't know shit about fuck, and we just like to absolutely just talk about whatever. So I can't wait, dude. It's gonna be awesome.
I forgot about that. But, we don't know shit about fuck. We figured that one out last time. All right. So if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with Jake, but we'll go over the guest spotlight anyway. Jake Jordan, he is a part of the Buffalo just like myself. We're teammates on the fan base. He's host of the Lowdown podcast. It's something I really want to harp on that I feel like he doesn't give himself enough credit for. Is his video editing skills. He's a fantastic graphic designer. I sit there on my free applications on my phone and try to make something half as good as Jake does, but he is tremendous, tremendously creative. I would even call it artistic. I mean, it might just be digital, but this guy is absolutely amazing when it comes to being creative with, the graphics, the hype videos. You just have a very, very unique touch. You made a couple overlays for Justice, and I'm like, where'd this come from? He's like, oh, Jake just made this. And he's like, it's so simple, so clean, and it's like you obviously have a God-gifted talent for it.
I love you called it, you're like, it's art, right? And that's kind of a big thing because I went to school. My minor is in digital media and digital art. And I thought it was an art major. And I thought I was gonna have to go my entire life saying that I was an art major. And most people look at that and they laugh at it. But in reality, I learned the other day, I'm actually a science major. So we're up, baby.
Wow, that's a science major. That's not like an art. Interesting.
Yeah, digital media, man. It's a science major now, so we're up now. Right. Can't laugh at me.
Well, shit, that makes sense as to why you're so damn freaking good at the shit. I mean, I made this background and it probably took me 45 minutes, and it doesn't look half as good as what you probably whip up in 30 seconds.
I love it, man. I love it. It's simple, but it's effective, and that's what's great about it.
It gets the point across. But all right, let's not waste too much time here. We got the guest spotlight. We all know who Jake is, guys. We're going to get into the recent events portion of the show. There's not much going on in the NFL. Ailey Kim, thank you for popping in as always. Love to see you in the comments. There's really not much going on in the NFL right now, and it's kind of unfortunate. But I'm going to pick and choose from the NFL news page at my own discretion. The first thing that I saw at the top of the page, I'm not sure it really wasn't advertised to any capacity to anybody, but apparently RGIII says he's open to returning to the NFL. And although that might be a hollow talking point, I wanted to ask a question that popped into my mind when I read this headline. And that was, if you hypothetically were forced to choose between a backup quarterback being RG3 or Colin Kaepernick, who are you giving the opportunity to first?
So this is a tough one, right? Because RG3 has been in the league more recently. And from everything that I've heard, at least, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, is that the Kaepernick workout with the Raiders was terrible. I think, was it Warren Sapp? Someone said that and said it was absolutely awful. So if I had to pick, I'd probably go with RG3 just because he's been in the league more recently. But to be completely honest with you, I'd rather have neither of them. Like they can stay out of the NFL, man. There's a couple more options I'd rather go for. So
yeah, that's totally where I'm at. Especially with these two guys, I'm surprised RG3 even wants to give it another whirl. He seems pretty involved in the media side of things, the broadcasting. He does a pretty damn good job at it. So I'm kind of shocked to hear that when I read it. But I mean, you can't really squeeze much more juice out of this kind of headline because the NFL is just completely dragging us through the mud right now. But the other thing that I did want to touch on that I thought was also hollow but interesting, that I'm sure you've heard about up to this point, but Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell are planning to box. And as soon as I read this headline the first time, I just don't see Le'Veon Bell standing a single chance against Adrian Peterson. I don't know if that's because of Adrian Peterson's prior history, but
yeah. No, dude, these celebrity boxing things are just really big. There's supposed to be, hey, we're not making enough money right now. Let's do this and, get a big paycheck. And, they do it. People watch it. I don't understand it. It's usually terrible boxing. But yeah, I would say that Adrian Peterson has almost every advantage. He's bigger and as I'm not sure. Le'Veon Bell, I've never seen him box. So I mean, I would be intrigued to watch it maybe, but this isn't some Canelo versus Triple G type stuff we're talking about here. This is two dudes that just are trying to get a paycheck.
Yeah,
So
pretty much. And just kind of like we were talking about before the show, I look at Adrian Peterson and I'm like, he got that dog in him. Like, I'm taking my money's on Adrian Peterson.
He got that dog in him.
Got that. Le'Veon Bell doesn't strike me as that kind of person. He kind of strikes me as like that passive aggressive dude that'll be like, trying to tell you off, but in a very nice way, if that kind of makes sense. Like, he just doesn't strike me as a guy that should be boxing for some reason. Like, I don't know. But
he ain't about it.
That's especially Adrian Peterson. I mean, I think you could have picked a little lighter of an opponent.
I know, man.
Anyway, the NFL really killed me this week. I couldn't find anything worthy to talk about, but that leads us into.
Well, actually, I got one little thing today is that the Steelers said that they don't feel comfortable paying somebody. Wow, big news. They're not going for Deontay Johnson. They're only they have Claypool, but really he's like the other guy there, and he's going to be up to get paid. And apparently, all reports are Steelers aren't going to pay him top money. Oh wow, that's surprising. They do that with every single good player they have that comes up on a contract. But I really don't understand the philosophy in that, man. Like them not wanting to pay people, but they are a wide receiver factory, so.
Yeah, that is a big part of it. I feel like the Steelers. They also just drafted, was it George Pickens, right?
Yep,
the guy that's supposedly a menace to society. Like, this dude's going to come onto the wide receiver core and actually make an impact, supposedly at least. There's also another guy there, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Didn't they draft 2 receivers?
There's somebody else there. I don't know who it is, what their name is, but there's I feel like they have 4 notable receivers to some capacity. So I think that probably also could be playing into Deontay Johnson's contract negotiations.
Probably. Oh, they drafted Calvin Austin III.
Okay, yes, that's what it was. They did draft Calvin Austin. So I mean, they got 4 guys that I would say Deontay Johnson's a top 20 receiver. So be where you have him at, but like you said, they kind of are a receiver factory. They never really had issues at that position, depth or talent wise. So that's an interesting tidbit. That one flew over my head. I did not hear that one. All right. Well, moving on. We got the Q&A, and I got a couple interesting questions for you, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
The first one being, which NFL player do you think falls off in 2022?
Ooh. Okay. A fall off? Man, I really feel like it's easy to say Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of feels like just like a easy answer to that one, just because you're going from Patrick Mahomes to I think also another good one would be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is his receiving core is not that good. Obviously, we've seen him with not so good receiving cores before, and he still does fairly well. But that would be probably a pick I would go for. Yeah, man. There's so many. This is one of those all right, now look at the entire landscape of the NFL answer in 5 seconds. So now I got to sit here and go, all right, pick through every single team. Mac Jones is probably going to be fine. I'm really thinking quarterbacks. What quarterback is really going to fall off? And I think that Aaron Rodgers is the one that kind of just really sticks out like a sore thumb to me. Because there's plenty of other situations where, I don't even think Patrick Mahomes falls off that much. I know Justice seems to think that because he has MVS and Juju now, he's not going to produce as much. But I think both those guys will put up serviceable stats that he'll still be a top quarterback in the league. So, yeah, my 2 answers are going to be Tyreek and Aaron Rodgers. I think they have slight down years this year.
Okay. Yeah, I completely hear you. I think I'm right behind you on the Tyreek Hill train for sure. I mean, I think that's probably a popular answer for a lot of people just because the system quarterback change that he's going through. But I could see Tyreek Hill having the most receptions in his entire career, kind of similar to having like a not Jalen Waddle type season like he just had last year, but definitely being much more of a short receiver, yards after catch, intermediate short game. And I could see him having upwards of 100 catches. I'm not sure what his record is for a season, but I definitely think his game is going to be altered in that offense. And it will definitely result in Tyreek Hill statistics being dampered, if you will. And my dad actually mentioned it when Tyreek Hill initially got traded or forced his way out of Kansas City. He said, Tyreek Hill could have potentially just cost himself a gold jacket for the way he forced himself out of Kansas City, because nobody's getting as much out of Tyreek Hill as the Chiefs are and Patrick Mahomes. And now that he's out of there, he's nowhere. He's not going to produce at the level he was prior. So I do think Tyreek Hill, one of the most game-changing wide receivers we've ever seen, may have cost himself a gold jacket. I thought it was a fair point.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good point too, because again, you're going to see the touchdown numbers probably drop. That was kind of the big thing, was his speed, being able to go downfield, and Patrick Mahomes just launch it down there to him, and then he can take off and get those TDs. It's not going to be that easy in this system with Tua. I mean, who knows what happens? Maybe the next quarterback he has that maybe isn't Tua, unless Tua is that guy that Miami is going to stay with. Like, I could see that possibly being a move when you leave a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, that could alter his legacy altogether.
Yeah, definitely. And, it kind of is, the Hall of Fame kind of seems like a very weak revolving door these days. It doesn't take much to get in, so I could still see him squeaking in at the end of the day. But I do think you need the statistics to back up your game-changing career. You can't just go out there and, display greatness without producing it on a consistent basis, I guess, if that makes sense. But the player that came to mind when I was asked this question, I think I saw it on Twitter somewhere, was DeAndre Hopkins, coming off of a 7-game injury last year, 7 games missed due to injury last year. I'm fumbling my words a lot right now.
Oh, yeah.
Coming into this season, now he's got the 6-game PED suspension. If you include the playoff game that he missed, that's 8 games. So 14 straight games he's going to have missed. And he's already not been the same dominant wide receiver that he was, at least in my opinion, since he went from Houston to Arizona. He had a 1,400-yard season in his first year with Arizona, but it just doesn't feel like he's as dominant, not due to his faults. He's obviously downgraded at quarterback. Kyler was not nearly as good as Deshaun was in Houston. And also, I do think Cliff Kingsbury is a moron and doesn't really know how to utilize his offense, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about DeAndre Hopkins. He's 30 years old. Not in the best situation, at least I would argue, and he's going to miss 14 straight games. So I feel like we may have seen the last of prime DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, whenever you're missing that many games, and it kind of looks like when he's healthy, when you start getting into the conversation, I have to throw him, when he's healthy, he's one of the most. That's when you start to have a problem. So yeah, I could easily see DeAndre Hopkins also going into that. Like, it starts to get into that AJ Green territory, where AJ Green before injuries was just a monster with Cincinnati. You were like, oh my God, the AJ Green. And then just every year it was hurt. And he would miss games. And you're just like, oh, AJ Green. Now he's with the Cardinals still too. I think he's with the Cardinals too. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, another choice could have been Debo too. Who knows?
Totally.
With Mike McDaniel not being there anymore, and kind of him being the go-to option there. Who knows what the new OC does? Maybe they keep getting Debo involved, or Debo is like, no, I want to be a wide receiver. And then they go, fine. If that makes you happy, we'll make you a wide receiver. And then he doesn't have as much production. Who knows? But that could be another candidate up there too, that maybe doesn't have the best season, kind of like how he did last year, where he was absolutely all world.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really talked about Debo the same way they do now before last season. He really put himself on the map this year, and I'm completely on that train as well. I don't think Debo Samuel has anywhere near as good of a year as he did last year. This coming season. I just don't think it's going to be possible for the as versatile as it is. I feel like it's almost a one-dimensional game he brings to the table sometimes.
Yeah.
He's just not the best pure wide receiver in my mind. But we can move on from that talking point. Get on to question number 2, being, who comes to mind as the best team on paper heading into next season?
On paper, again, this is we're Bills fans, so of course I want to say, but just on paper, position group all the way through the entire roster, all 53 guys, I think the Bills actually do have one of the most solid roster in the NFL. And I'm not the only person saying that. There are actual NFL media heads that are saying that the Bills on paper are just that team, that it has been constructed and from top to bottom is one of the most solid units in the entire league. So, yeah, just immediately on paper, a bunch of teams losing pieces and some, teams that you think are going to be up there, they lose a couple, like the Chiefs. You'd want to say that the Chiefs are one of those teams on paper. Okay, the Rams, they won the Super Bowl last year. Yeah, but they lose Von Miller, and then Robert Woods is gone. OBJ probably still isn't coming back till around playoff time. So they have Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. So we'll see what they do there. But, just the best team on paper with the most continuity, I think it's the Bills easily.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and like you said, to remove the Bills fan aspect of the
Yeah.
conversation, they are being talked about. I think they're the most popular answer to this question. And, I think in the opinion of not only ourselves, but anybody that pays attention to football, Von Miller was kind of that missing piece
Yeah.
that we needed to really make this roster well-rounded. And we have him now. And I think it could have been even less. It could have been lesser than Von Miller, and we could still be having the same conversation. But Von Miller really puts the cherry on top. Although, if the Bills aren't first, because I, try to stay as objective as possible. If I personally do think that if there was another team, it would either be the Bucks. I think they still deserve to be in this conversation, but also the Eagles. They definitely lack as in terms of the quarterback position. That's the big question mark. But outside of that, Miles Sanders, he's very serviceable. I think he's a relatively serviceable running back. And then they got what's supposed to be a top 5 offensive line this season.
Yeah.
Top 4 last season. Dallas Goedert at tight end, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith at wide receiver. And then, their secondary features one of the best cornerback duos in the NFL and James Bradbury and Darius Slay. They got Nakobe Dean, Hassan Reddick at linebacker. And then they got one of the best front fours in the entire NFL. And Jordan Davis is like the 5th guy in the rotation. Like they have one of the deepest front fours in the entire league. So,
and I love the Eagles, right? I love what the Eagles did in the offseason. Like everything makes me want to go. They're easily going to win their division next year, but they're the Eagles. And that's the thing that scares me because I'm like, okay, that team was one of the best rushing teams in the I think they actually led the league in rushing.
They did
last year. So like I want to say the Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFC next year on paper.
Yep.
But then you have to circle and look at Jalen Hurts and you're going to be like, what is this man going to look like next year? What does he develop as a passer? You give him AJ Brown, like, okay, like you've got a dynamic duo just on the outside, like, and then you've got Dallas Goedert. Like, I will like to see Commanders winning the East in their day.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, no, man. Like the Eagles should easily win their division.
I feel that way too.
But I don't know, man. That NFC East, man, every single year it seems to be that for some reason this team, like the Cowboys last year, dude. Like it's like the Cowboys should have been great last year, and they were absolutely average as hell.
Yeah, I know. I thought the Cowboys were. I mean, I had them going farther than they did, and they lost the 49ers in the wild card in very embarrassing fashion. I will add.
Yes.
Well, first I want to say, Vlad, thank you for popping in. Hope you're doing well. And Dave says Commanders winning the East, and Wentz is gonna. Dave is a Commanders fan, but he says Wentz is going to crush them birds. I mean, look, I am one of the last Carson Wentz. Phrase that. I am not a Carson Wentz fan. I'm the complete opposite of a Carson Wentz fan, but I do think I don't give him as much credit as he may deserve. Hopefully he gets to turn things around. I want Terry McLaurin is my driving factor for wanting to see some success, at least on the offensive side of the ball for the Commanders, because I think he really just needs a quarterback.
And he finally signed that deal today too. I think that was news. McLaurin finally signed the deal, so he's there for a while. And look, I mean, that Washington defense is always going to be great. So that, like, if you get more out of Carson Wentz than the Colts could, then yeah, like I think everybody in that division has a chance. Honestly, I think you do. So I wouldn't even take anybody off the table there.
Yeah.
Like I think again, it's going to be a division where everybody is going to have a chance. And I like even a team like the Giants that,
Totally.
everybody wants to write off. I know they got our offensive coordinator and their new GM was one of our assistant GMs, and it's not that, but just like they've always had like the talent, but they've never been able to get it. There's just question marks all over the team. They're rebuilding. A lot of these teams seem to have a lot of question marks. So we'll see with that division. But right now, I feel like the Eagles are the strongest.
Yep.
But again, those interdivisional matchups there too. Those teams kick the absolute shit out of each other. So
It's always the NFC East will forever be a four-way coin flip. You just
yeah,
never know how that division's going to go. And after seeing the way last season went, where there was just stupid upset after stupid upset on a week-to-week basis, you don't know what's going to happen in
yeah.
the NFL anymore. I mean, any given Sunday, I said this every week. Any given Sunday never applied more to a season than I felt like it did last year, and that applies very strongly to the NFC East. Not to mention. I think I'm losing my train. Oh no. What I was gonna say was last season, I do remember I think it was Thanksgiving week, the week following Thanksgiving.
Mm,
The Eagles were playing the Giants, and that was when the Eagles were, kind of getting hot.
yeah.
And the Giants were obviously the Giants. And I don't know what it was. I just sometimes get these inklings, and I'm telling my friends like they're gonna beat the Eagles. The Giants are gonna win. Like
Mhm,
I'm telling you, because they were going through their pickums or whatever. I'm like,
yeah.
just please pick them. Pick the Giants. Pick the Giants. They ended up winning. I go like on these random whims, occasionally I go like 1 in 10, over the course of the year on these random whims. But that one actually came true because I knew in the NFC East interdivisional matchup, you just don't know. So it's just speaking to that narrative.
Yeah, man, that's always how it is. And like I've always been like, yeah, any given Sunday, that's the thing. But I usually like to go by statistics and what a team looks like going into a matchup
Yeah.
and everything like that. And then I went to the Bills versus Jaguars game in person. Like I
Oh
wasn't sitting at home
man.
watching it on TV. I saw it in person. And now I will forever believe that we are the only team that lost to Urban Meyer and the Jaguars, and it kills me. And I was there in person to see it.
How
Terrible.
many Bills games have you been to in the last like 3 or 4 years?
The last 3 or 4 years, I've gone to 3. We really started going. I went to 2 games last year, and then a game before that, in the year before that, and then this year I'm going to 2. So we always try to make it a thing, and of course we wanted to go to one in Florida because it was close to home. Jacksonville's only like a 2-hour drive from here, so we're like, yeah, we'll go up there.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was not fun. I'm glad
Yeah.
I was
I
drunk that day.
I was gonna say, like, I asked that just because I was kind of hoping you didn't say, "Oh, that's the last one I've been to in the last 5 years," because it's that game against the
Yeah,
Jaguars. That would be,
it's been the last one I've been to in like a year, so that's bad
well,
taste in my mouth.
this year, hopefully, that those blunders don't happen, but I'm not counting them out to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
All right. So question number 3, I kind of forgot we were still doing Q&A, but question number 3 is this is kind of random, but who is the best backup running back in your opinion in the NFL?
Backup running back. Oh, geez. Okay. I don't even know what the depth chart of the Dolphins looks like because it's
Yeah,
not set yet,
yeah,
but
exactly. You don't
um
know who that backup might be.
yeah, I don't know who the backup's gonna be, but the fact that they've got Sony Michelle, Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, and Miles Gaskin, I mean, like, it could be either one of those guys. Like, if for some reason, like, Chase Edmonds is the number 2, like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the best backup in the league. Like, yeah, I'm just trying to think of any other teams. Like, there's some teams that, like, of course, you're always gonna have the Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt 1-2 punch.
Dallas. I can't remember. Tony Pollard. He's talking.
Yeah, Tony Pollard as well. I really like Pollard. Like, I feel like that he's more dynamic in a game than
Mhm.
Zeke is, and they kind of have learned how to use him a little bit more effectively because he's more dynamic if you can line him up out wide. Like Tony Pollard can do that. And Zeke doesn't really have that much of that ability. So they're able to be a little bit more creative with him. But yeah, he's really good too. So yeah, I would say Pollard or Mostert or Edmonds, whoever is going to be the backup in Miami.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't even when I went over this myself. I didn't even really think about Miami just because you don't know how it's going to, pan out. But somebody has to be the backup.
Yeah, someone's gonna be the RB2,
and they're going to be decent. Whoever it ends up being, they're going to be one of the better, running back twos in the NFL. I mean, my answer to this is Kareem Hunt. I guess depending on how you view it, I think if he wasn't in a backfield with Nick Chubb, he'd be a running back one somewhere. And I almost feel like he deserves to be. It's almost, I don't want to say a shame, but he's so talented to the point where it's really surprising that he is just sitting behind Nick Chubb. Yeah, and Hoodie Jube says I think Kareem Hunt's the best. Yeah, I completely am there with you. Who's the other guy that came to mind? Does Javonte Williams, your mind, qualify as a backup? He split down the middle carries with Melvin Gordon. He was only listed as a starter for one game on the year. Is that?
Yeah, I would say that kind of qualifies you for RB2 side because Melvin Gordon is kind of the guy that they've got listed there to be their number one, and honestly, deservedly so because he's been great. Like both of those guys have been that 1-2 punch where you're just kind of like, yeah, like Melvin Gordon is RB1, but Javonte Williams is still just as good. So yeah, that I would count him as well.
Sorry, I sneezed. Yeah, I definitely, you kind of have to when he's listed as the literal backup, kind of put him there. But I almost feel like he's almost the clear, like between him and Kareem Hunt, that's tough. I think Javonte is better, at least right now, just because he's younger. But
there's so many good running backs in the NFL, dude. Like
there are so many good running backs and receivers. It's absolutely absurd. Another good one, AJ Dillon. I think is a lot closer to Aaron Jones, and people want to give him credit for. AJ Dillon is a monster.
That man's legs are the size of tree trunks. It is ridiculous.
He fits so well in Green Bay just because of the cold weather. If there are days where the defense does not want to tackle, AJ Dillon is the definition of a bruising back that will punish you for not getting physical with him.
Yeah, and if you do get physical with him, he still has the power to carry defensive linemen on his back. Like he's an absolute monster.
Yeah, that's a really good answer too. I think AJ Dillon's right up there. Javonte Williams, Kareem Hunt. I think Ramondre Stevenson for New England was pretty decent. He was, I think, more versatile than Damian Harris. Whether he's better is a different story. But is this a thing? Could that have been a thing?
We should have drafted Dillon.
The same draft class?
Moss. I believe so, actually. They are the same draft class. We took Moss in the 4th round. I'm not sure when they took AJ Dillon. I'll look it up.
Hoodie says one more thing too. Cleveland Browns are the best running back. Yeah, I think between the Browns and the Dolphins in terms of talent and depth, I think these are the two top running back backfields in the NFL. I mean, you got Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, and Dearness Johnson, who is also in this conversation, I would think.
Yes. Well, actually, AJ Dillon, in the 2020 draft, so that would have been 2 years ago, but he was the 62nd pick, so he was in the 2nd round. So, yeah, we could have had him, but who did we get that year in the 2020 draft in the 2nd round?
2nd round of 2020. That was the year we took AJ first, right?
I believe so.
19?
I'm just going to look at Bill's 2020 draft. That'll tell me who we got.
I think it should be. I think that's AJ's draft. If I remember.
Yeah, that is. So, yeah, we picked up. We didn't have a 1st round pick that year. So, we got Epinesa in the 2nd round, Zach Moss in the 3rd.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And I was thinking, like, AJ was not a 1st. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So that settles that. Interesting point made there by Vlad. Very interesting. I did not know that was the
Hoodie in the thing too. He said Dearness Johnson. Dude, I went to bat for Dearness Johnson. I wanted him so bad. He was a restricted free agent. They brought him back to Cleveland. But yeah, I wanted Dearness so bad. He's another versatile guy that whenever both Chubb and Hunt were out, like they just plugged him right in and he was still just eating it up. Like that's just to tell you how good Cleveland's offensive line is too. Like just at run blocking, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, totally. And running backs that they find green grass. If they're not getting hit so much throughout the game, they're obviously going to be a lot more fresh. Their legs
Hmm.
aren't going to be shot, and they're going to be willing to take on more contact as games go on. And I think that's really the biggest part of being a running back is how you're able to be consistent throughout a game, playing
Yeah.
at your best throughout all four quarters. And that's why I think a guy like Derrick Henry, although some people are kind of talking down on him lately,
Hmm.
with the injuries, lack of versatility, etc. But just his ability to continuously bruise you into the ground, quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter, is something that I value tremendously. But anyway, let's move on. We've been talking about backup running backs for.
I was about to say the Titans backup running back too. He is also really good.
I think he's the guy they had last year because I think he's gone. He
Yeah.
went to Carolina. I think his
Yeah,
name
he
was
did.
Jonathan Foreman.
Yeah.
I think it was. He filled in for Derrick Henry pretty well,
Hmm.
considering that team still got the top seed, and Ryan Tannehill had like Nicky Akidi Westbrook as his top receiver. All right, so that will wrap up that portion of the Q&A. So the next segment we got for you guys tonight is going to be the Would You Rather segment.
Okay.
This is a pretty straightforward segment. I'm going to present a player to Jake, and I'm going to compare that player against 5 other players. It's going to get increasingly more difficult as I match them up against each other. And Jake, just for context, this isn't for like adding this player to the Bills or to a specific team in general. It's just which player individually, based on their skill set, would you rather have in a Super Bowl or die situation next season?
Gotcha.
So,
Oh,
we're going with Gabe Davis.
God
If you guys
damn
don't
it.
know, Jake's favorite player is Gabe Davis. He's a big UCF guy.
yes.
So I don't know how Jake is going to put his bias aside for this, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
He knew damn well what he was doing when he made this section.
Oh yeah, I did. And I was excited. I've been trying to target people because I know they have their favorite players, and this is what I've been waiting for. So I'm interested. We're gonna start off light, though. I feel like I know where this one's gonna go. We're starting Gabe Davis up against Jameson Williams.
Who? Okay. So, God, Jameson Williams. He's a speed demon. The thing with Jameson Williams is that he was a beautiful mixture of speed and route running. But it's kind of easy for me to say Gabe Davis in this situation just because I've seen what Gabe Davis can do at the NFL level.
Right.
Jameson Williams, I haven't seen what he's able to put on the field yet. So if I had to pick one player right now in a Super Bowl situation, I'm taking Gabe Davis because I've seen what he can do in crunch time and playoffs. So I'm going to take that guy on my team. But Jameson Williams, a couple years from now, I could be saying, yeah, give me that guy easily.
Yeah,
Because he
fair
could
enough.
easily be a number one.
Oh yeah, totally. He's a guy that people thought were going to fall to us at 25, and once it started to sound like his rehab got on track, that guy was taken off the board.
Dude, Justice was
quick.
all in on Jameson Williams.
Yeah,
man.
he was. I'm like, he ain't making it to 25.
Hey, no way.
Trade up to single digits to be able to have a chance at that guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Gabe Davis wins the matchup against Jameson Williams. Number 2, I don't know if this is going to be more difficult or not, but Gabe Davis against Amon Ross St. Brown, the breakout rookie receiver for the Lions, came on the scene at the end of the year out of nowhere.
Okay, just because I want to get this going through quick, I'm still going to take Gabe Davis here. I feel like just kind of the production on the field in like definite moments still puts it over for me. Again, I really value experience in clutch situations more. Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of being just like that guy in an offense where he's kind of like the only option. Like he did produce, so that does have to also weigh on my mind. But in this situation, I'm still taking Gabe Davis. But I like Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, fair enough. That playoff game, yeah, not that obviously as a Bills fan, we know that that's not the only thing Gabe Davis has put on tape to show us what he can do. But dear God, he put himself on the map for all NFL fans. Now I'm hearing people, talk about fantasy football wide receivers, and Gabe Davis is in that conversation as somebody that people are looking to draft.
Dude,
that's when like you've made an impact. You've made a statement.
Last year, I was able to get Gabe Davis undrafted in the league I was in. And I knew we had Emmanuel Sanders, but I kept Gabe Davis just kind of like stashed on my bench because I didn't know how Emmanuel Sanders was going to fit in. Emmanuel Sanders goes down. Gabe Davis kind of takes the spot and never really relinquishes it. So, that was a great pickup for me this year. I'm definitely not getting Gabe Davis undrafted. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's gonna be flying off boards, maybe even a
Mhm.
little earlier than he should. But with that guy's touchdown upside,
Oh, yeah.
Gabe Davis is gonna be a hot commodity for sure. Hoodie, I'm gonna address this point once we're done with the would you rather, but I'm definitely gonna answer that question for you. So that's number 2. Number 3, still don't know if this is gonna be harder for you, but
Okay.
Gabe Davis versus Jerry Jeudy.
Ooh. Okay. Now I'm looking because I've seen what Jerry Judy's been able to do with Drew Lock throwing the ball to him and Teddy Bridgewater throwing the ball to him. Uh, Jerry Jeudy, he's a burner, dude. That dude's fast,
He can route run.
and he can put moves on people that are just You know what? In this situation, I want somebody who's going to give me the most upside and could, if I have to say, hey, I need you to just run like a straight inseam, right? Jerry Judy's going to burn his defender. Gabe Davis is going to have to do a little bit more work to do that. So I'll go Jerry Jeudy in this one.
Okay, interesting. I'm not personally the biggest Jerry Jeudy guy. Maybe because he wears a Broncos jersey, he hasn't been able to put much out there for me to really relish in. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are expecting this Jerry Jeudy big breakout year with Russell Wilson. I don't know.
I think I am too. I think him and Tim Patrick, if you guys are obvious fantasy players in the comments section, Tim Patrick and Jerry Jeudy, like even if the Broncos aren't like in the playoffs next year, because that is going to be a division that cannibalizes itself.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is a immediate upgrade over anybody who's been throwing the rock to those guys the last couple of years. So I would definitely say that Jerry Jeudy would be a great pickup because maybe I think they might be a little bit overrated too, because they might go fast on some boards because of the Russell Wilson effect. But those are definitely guys that, like, Tim Patrick has always been a sleeper for me in fantasy football.
My buddy is obsessed with Tim Patrick. Like he's got one of those like graphic T-shirts that are like jersey themed, and it's like a Tim Patrick. It's like you live in Buffalo, you're a Bills fan, and you have the Broncos wide receiver 3 graphic T-shirt. It's like, what is your problem? But I know, but it's like Tim Patrick is a guy that has made an impression. To enough of an extent due to fantasy football, I would say. But anyway, number 4. If you took Jerry Jeudy, I don't know how Gabe Davis is going to fare the rest of the way, but number 4, Gabe Davis against Darnell Mooney.
Okay. Honestly, you're going to have to remind me who Darnell Mooney is.
Darnell Mooney's the wide receiver 1 with the Chicago Bears. He had, I think...
See, that's why I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
I don't watch Bears games.
1,100 yards and like 4 or 5 touchdowns this year with Justin Fields.
Yeah. If I Gabe Davis's stats were 1,400 yards and like 8 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns, something like that on the season.
Yeah, I have no idea, to be honest.
That might be counting playoffs too.
Yeah, it probably is
because he had 4. Obviously, he had 4 in the playoffs. Honestly, can't say enough about Darnell Mooney, and that's on me, just not watching enough of the Bears games. But I'll go Gabe Davis on this one.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Gabe Davis has, I think he puts up enough of a fight against all of these guys I'm presenting to you. Gabe Davis is Darnell Mooney, I'm sorry, is just unique because talk about a shitty situation to be a part of. He's been making do with what he's been presented. Yeah. He's a 6th round pick. So, he wasn't supposed to be anything. The Bears are kind of just getting lucky with finding a diamond in the rough. Because they've not done a very good job of really anything over the last couple of years now. But Gabe Davis wins round 4. Round 5 is going to bring on, I think, the hardest matchup of the day.
Sure.
Gabe Davis versus Michael
Pittman. Okay. All right. So these guys, I feel like their skill sets kind of match up a little bit more evenly. Michael Pittman, I wouldn't really say has been doing well, obviously doing more with less because it's not like he's had no-name scrubs throwing to him. Um, this is where I think my bias is going to kick in because I think Michael Pittman is like I like both of these guys, but I think I'm going to take Gabe Davis in this situation, but you can't go wrong with either of these dudes. These dudes on the sideline are absolutely killer. Like this one's a tough one for me, but I'm gonna go with my bias here. So yes, I am going to put that out there that this is my bias talking. Both of these guys are absolutely amazing. Uh, but I'm gonna take Gabe Davis in this situation.
No, that's more than fair. I think if there was one like comparison or player comp that you can make between two guys, Gabe Davis and Michael Pittman are like, at least in my mind, pretty much the same guy.
Yeah,
I think Gabe Davis is probably slightly faster. I definitely think he's a better route runner, but Michael Pittman is, he's very physical and he will, he can get up. I remember that catch he had against the Ravens on Monday Night Football. He like lost two.
And my thing with Michael Pittman is too, he's kind of been that guy. Like they gave him that spot, right? Like in the offense. Gabe Davis has still been trying to earn it every single year for some reason, and he still puts up the numbers that he does. And this is going to be his first year being in the kind of position that Michael Pittman has been in. So we'll see how these two guys do this year. Just kind of tick for tat, apples to apples. But I'll take, Gabe Davis in this situation. But they're both like these guys are both great.
Oh, definitely. They're both wide receivers you want in your at your quarterback's dispense. But I don't think, unfortunately for Michael Pittman's sake, at least he, like you said, he was thrown into a top role, but I don't know if he's necessarily fit to be a top wide receiver just yet. At least I think he'll grow into the spot. And considering they're a run first team anyway, he's not necessarily the first method of production for the Colts, but he definitely, although thrown into it, maybe not have been ready for it at least.
Yeah, it's just kind of like he's not really in a situation where he's going to put up like all world numbers. So you're never really going to know whether or not he's number one or not. Like, could he be a number one somewhere else? Kind of like with Gabe Davis being in the situation he's in with Stephon Diggs on the other side of the field. Some people are going to argue that his numbers are inflated because Diggs is getting all the attention and stuff like that. So you're never really going to be able to tell with either of these guys. But, we'll see. We'll see what they do this year. Another guy that I also can't wait to see what he is Chase Claypool as well with the Steelers is another guy that I can't wait to see what they do this year with, him not having a corpse throwing the ball to him. We'll see. All these guys are going to have the potential to possibly take that next step. So
Chase Claypool almost made this would you rather list. I think I replaced Chase Claypool with Darnell Mooney. I don't know. Chase Claypool, like you said, he just has had a corpse throwing to him. So, that's also taken away from his potential production. But that wraps up the Would You Rather segment. We're going to get into the final segment of the show tonight. This is the most anticipated for anybody that's new around here. I see a couple new faces, and I'm very, very excited to see you guys down there. This is the Caveman's quiz game. This is the most highly anticipated segment of the show. The Caveman's quiz game, I would say, is relatively simple, but I kind of changed it up, so it's really not anymore. The Caveman's quiz game goes as follows. There are 5 NFL quiz questions. The topics are the offseason events, the stats, history, draft, and awards question. Each question has a difficulty option of easy, medium, or hard. Easy's worth 10, medium's worth 20, hard's worth 30. You get to have a true or false worth half of that difficulty points value. As a follow-up, if you get the original question right. So let's say Jake picks the easy stats question. He gets the easy stats question right. He gets a follow-up question regarding the original that's worth 5 points, if that makes sense. And then 1 mulligan per game, which means if you get one wrong, you get another chance at a different question. And then the final wager question, the best way to sum it up is like Jeopardy. There's one question at the end of the game. You get to wager a certain amount of points on it. If you get it right, you double your points. If you don't, you'll lose your points. All right, so let me take this banner off our faces here and get underway. Jake, also, let's bring up the leaderboard. You are still on the board from the second time. You played hardcore
Heck
mode,
yeah,
man. And you're
man.
still at number 5 hanging on. So I'm looking forward to seeing if you're able to make your mark on this new board itself. So let's kick it right off.
Yeah, I'm still one of the old guards sitting up there on the from episode 2. I'm still on the list. So let's go.
That is, if you guys don't know, that is absolutely impressive, because it was, when I tell you hardcore at that point, it was hardcore. Things have lightened up. All right, so first question, the off-season events question. Do you want the easy, the medium, or the hard question?
I'm going to go medium off the bat.
All right, medium off the bat. First question that Jake is being presented with is, name a team that hired a new head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator.
Okay.
No time limit anymore either.
Oh, there's no timer anymore?
I took the timer away, too.
Oh, my God. I'm sitting here waiting for the timer to pop up. I'm like, scared, dude. Okay, let's see. Basically a whole new staff.
Pretty much.
This season. Let's go offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Let's go the Vikings.
The Vikings I don't think they did have a new, I think it was the defensive coordinator that was not replaced.
What was it not?
Correctly. No, I don't think they did have the replacement. Let me just double check. I'm pretty positive though. Coaching hire.
Because I know they had a new head coach, a new GM.
So the Vikings, I have the list right here. The Vikings are, camera's in the way of my screen, so I'm ducking around it. Okay, so they got a new offensive coordinator, or they got a new head coach, Kevin O'Connell, new offensive coordinator in Wes Phillips, and the defensive coordinator is Ed Donatel, who I don't believe was a new face.
Dang.
Vikings are not on that list, unfortunately.
Damn.
But part of the new rule set is the mulligan. Do you want to use the mulligan right now? Or do you want to save it for later?
On the first question, a mulligan? Oh, man.
The Giants are an answer, Vlad, by the way. There's a couple teams that...
you know what? Sure. Yeah, I'll use the mulligan on that one. Why not?
All right, he's going to use the mulligan. So I don't have another medium question, so do you want the easy or the hard one?
Oh, shit. Okay.
Or you can pull back your mulligan. It's up to you.
What's up?
Or you can pull back your mulligan if you want to save it. I'll let you have it.
Yeah, I'll pull back the mulligan. I'll take the L on that one. That's fine.
All right, fair enough. Jake takes the L on the first question, but there's plenty of points to be had later on. Question number 2. This is the statistical question. Do you want the easy, the medium, or the hard one?
I'll go medium again. All
right, the medium question is, who had the better record last season, the Falcons or the
Bears? The Bears.
It was the Falcons. The Falcons went 7-10. The Bears won 6-11. Falcons were on like the border of a playoff spot in that.
Do you have another medium question for this one?
No, I should probably make backup medium.
Man, sorry. This is I knew I was gonna come into this game and be like okay. Well, I'll do a mulligan and I'll take the easy one on this one. Though.
All right, taking the easy mulligan.
Sure.
The easy mulligan for the stats is who led the NFL in point differential.
Point differential last year, so it would be the team that was scoring the most.
And the team that was
best. I'm gonna have to say, is it the Bills?
It is the Bills. You're overthinking it now. Now you're doubting
yourself. Yeah, dude,
now.
I'm overthinking it because I was like, we had a few shutouts, and that really inflated our point differential. So.
Yeah, you're overthinking it now. It was the Bills. They were the leader in point differential by a decent bit. Those shutouts were tremendously helpful to that number, which also was part of the reason why I feel like we maybe didn't have necessarily the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah,
that's another conversation. So the Bills are the answer to that, and you get the true-false follow-up, which is the Bills also led the NFL in points for last season. That true or false?
In the points for? Let's see. Explain to me what point led the NFL in points for. What is that?
So pretty much the most amount of points scored in the season.
Out of any team. True.
It's false. The Bucs were first. The Bucks were first.
Really?
And the Bills were second, I think. Yes, the Bucks were first.
That had to be only by like a couple of points.
Yeah, that was near. The Bucks had a couple games where they really put up a good number.
Okay.
They were putting up points consistently. Like even though we had shutouts, we also had games where we scored 6 points. Like against the
yeah.
So that did not help our case. But no sweat off your back. Question number 3.
Sure.
10 points on the board. History question. Do you want the easy, the medium, or the hard? I will make it backup questions for the future. You have
okay. It's fine. I'm still on the board regardless. So let's go medium for this one.
All right. The medium question is, who was the first openly gay player to be drafted into the
NFL? Openly gay. So does that mean they didn't come out during the John Gruden situation?
Yeah. So pretty much the first guy that everybody knew was gay. And
okay, so not Carl Nassib? Right. Dang. Nah, I openly gay play. No, dude, can't tell you.
It's a weird question. It was back in 2014. Michael Sam was drafted by the Rams, and he was the first openly gay NFL player drafted.
That's a medium question. Man,
I don't know. I gotta find more people to ask. They said it was a medium difficulty.
Yeah, the first thing I thought of is I'm like the biggest story was Carl Nassib the other year. So.
Yeah, exactly right. So the that question, it's either you know it or you don't. It's like if you have no inkling right off the top of your head.
Yeah, I have no idea.
You're not gonna be able to recall.
2014 draft. Yeah. That was literally the year before I got into football. So
that doesn't help either. All right. So question number 4 is the draft question. Do you want the easy, the medium, or the hard?
Oh my God, dude. Like I wanna give me the hard one.
All right, he's going for the hard. Since 1995, there have been 2 draft classes. I had this typo. 2 draft classes where the first consecutive 3 picks were quarterbacks. Name one of the 2.
No, that one's not it. I'm glad I thought that because that was No, because see, I want to say that one, but that's not true because Saquon's in that draft. So, this is a shot in the dark, dude. I got no idea. This has got to be like 04.
It was not 04. The 2 draft classes that did have was just last season in 2021. T-Law, Zach Wilson, and then Trey Lance were drafted 3 straight in the top 3. And then the other one was, I think, 1999. It was Tim Couch, I think, and 2 other guys. But
was that? I thought it might have been the Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger draft class. I thought maybe that would have been, but I think Ben dropped in that draft class, so it wouldn't have been 3 consecutives.
Yeah, it was the 2021 draft class is pretty much the one that, at least in my mind, if I was asked the question, would be. I mean, the 1999 draft class, I couldn't freaking tell you.
Yeah, dude, couldn't tell you
the first 3 there, but the 2021 draft class, if there was one, that I would have gotten, it would have been that.
And that was 3. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. Yep. Okay.
All right. So last question, Jake. How do you want to do it? Easy, medium, or the hard? Oh my God,
just give me the medium one, dude. I'm dying.
All right. The medium question is, who has won more Coach of the Year awards, Bill Belichick or Vince Lombardi?
Lombardi, probably.
It's Bill Belichick.
Oh my God, dude.
Bill Belichick has won 3. Vince Lombardi
has he won 3? I always thought he would be like, he would win 1, and then like they've just been like good ever since. So they just give it to other people.
That's how it kind of was. It was the other way around. Vince Lombardi has only won 1. Ironically enough, he's literally the Super Bowl trophy. Like,
yeah, the Lombardi trophy.
He's only won 1.
Damn.
Freaking Coach of the Year award. But
I hope you don't clip this up and put it on Twitter. Jeez.
I mean, don't worry about that. We'll worry about that when we cross that bridge. Let's stay positive. You have a wager question left, and you have 10 points to work with.
I have no points to wager, Mike.
You have 10 points to wager, damn it.
I can't even make it back on the board.
Are you wagering the 10? Are you sticking with your 10?
Thank you, Vlad, in the comment section. These questions are brutal.
These
Mike.
questions are...
Come on.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. I got to find new people to ask then. I guess I picked 2 hard ones. Oh, man. All right, I'm sorry.
We're good, dude.
All right, do you want to wager the 10 points you got?
Sure, man. What do I got to lose?
All right. Wager question is, how many wide receivers were drafted in the first round of the 2022 NFL draft for 10 points? 20 points.
4?
It was 6. There were 6 drafted in the first round of the 2022 NFL draft.
Yeah.
Jake?
I mean, if you expected me to try on that question, like I'm sitting here, I'm like, I knew 4 off the top of my head, and I'm like, I am not going to try to think of every single draft pick.
So, yeah, I don't blame you, especially for 10 points. I don't really blame you at that point, to be honest with you. But that's not the important thing, Jake. We had a very,
it was fun. It was all about the fun we had, right?
Yes, exactly.
We shot still on the damn board. So let's go.
That's the important thing. Your 50 points, 60 points in the ultra hardcore Caveman quiz game will forever be, that'll be more impressive than the 100 and 105, at least in my mind, achieved in the new game. But you definitely held your own. I kind of do feel bad that I kind of screwed you with. The Michael Sam question was bad. Now that I kind of
like, bruh, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, that's Carl Nassib, and then it's like, wait a minute, he wasn't openly gay until like a few years into his career. Damn it!
I'm trying to get unique with the type of questions I ask because it's NFL history technically, right? But it's also like I don't know. Anyway, Jake, I really appreciate you hopping on, man. We had plenty of solid conversation.
Oh yeah,
and we definitely shot the shit and learned that we both don't know shit about fox.
Yeah, definitely. That quiz really proved it. I don't know,
Vlad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Vlad. But yeah, it was a good time, Jake, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anybody else with any questions? I'll address that later. Anyway,
I completely forgot about Lombardi in Washington, Dave. That's all. I didn't see. Yeah, Lombardi. I guess Lombardi had a second coach of the year in Washington.
According to Pro Football Reference, he only won the singular one. But anyway, Jake, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, your social medias? Give yourself a little bit of an outro.
Oh, yeah, of course. You can always find me at Jake the Bills fan, where I pretty much talk about anything that I want. So it's not just football. If you like all kinds of conversations, I do that on there. Of course, you can find everything that we do at BuffaloFAMBase, literally BuffaloFAMBase on every single social media platform. You can find it on there, me and Justice. We do a lot of that stuff, so it's definitely something that we're proud of in a community that we're going to keep on building. And we got a bunch of people that help us with that. So of course, you and Justice have your show on Wednesdays. Me and Justice have our shows on Fridays. And make sure to if you are interested, we are simming every single game on the Buffalo Bills schedule this year. So right now we've made it all the way to the bye week. So we're not really going to do a bye week. We're just going the next week. So it's the Bills versus the Green Bay Packers this week. Me and Justice, we sim the entire game and we commentate over it like we're a Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, except we're a little bit better. So definitely tune into that. You guys will definitely enjoy that on BuffaloFAMBase. You can find it on YouTube. So if you're at YouTube right now, literally just type in BuffaloFAMBase. It'll pop right up. You'll find us immediately.
Yep, definitely, man. Jake and Justice do tremendous work. I was speaking to the narrative earlier. These guys are two of the hardest workers in the entire community, and they deserve all of the credit in the world, despite their lackluster performances in the quiz game.
Nah, get out of here. I'm still on the board, baby.
He's still on the board, damn it. He's right. And you guys can find any social media links. I have everything that you are going to find on Jake down in the description below. So if you're interested in checking him out on any social medias, and please do They will be down there for you to explore. But if you were in the comment section, if you popped in, a lot of new faces tonight, I really appreciate you guys coming in. It means the world to me, and anybody that comes in and supports it really does.
Hit that subscribe button, baby.
Yes, definitely hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're following. I'm hitting up Jake on wherever you can find him in the descriptions below. And I'll see you guys in my next video if I get around to making one. But definitely next week Tuesday. And I'll see y'all later. Peace. Go Bills.
Go Bills.